It's Lauren.
And Brody with Everything Board Games. We wanted to share with you these 9 unique games that you can play with your friends and family this holiday season.
If you have any non-gamer friends, please share this video with them, as these should be normal household games that we see in everyone's home.
Also, stay tuned because we have a giveaway announcement later in this video.
Click, Clack, Lumberjack by Mayday Games. This game may look similar to the popular game Jenga, but it is very different. First off, this game is better and just a lot more fun than Jenga. You take turns taking 2 chops with an axe to move the plastic pieces that are stacked together to make a tree. You are trying to move the trunk pieces enough off from the one beneath that it causes the bark pieces to fall off. Each bark piece is worth a point, but you don't want to get the tree disc piece to fall off. If you knock it off, it's a negative 5 points. The game is fun to watch and play because the big discs eventually become displaced from each other, and you have to be careful picking which part of the tree to chop because causing it to fall will give you a lot of negative points. Different variants of the game can spice things up a bit to keep the game from becoming boring. This game is very fast to play. The only bad thing is having to rebuild the tree again before you can play. The game is for ages 5 and up, and although younger kids than 5 could play it, I think that the kids over 5 would be better able to understand and follow the rules. The game is fun for adults as well because you can actually calculate your swing a little bit more to know if you will cause the tree to tumble or if you can move just enough to cause the bark pieces to tumble off of it. This will be a game that is played in a party setting or for when you need a quick, fast game. Also note, this game can gather crowds of people when playing in public and can get rather noisy. Again, Click, Clack, Lumberjack by Mayday Games.
Next up is Drop It by Kosmos. Drop It is a game that reminds me of Connect 4, Blockus, and Tetris. It's as if they took the best things out of those games and made it into Drop It. In the game, you will be dropping your colored pieces into the plastic stand. Depending on where and how they land, you will score certain points. The higher you have your pieces in the plastic stand, the more points that you get. And if your piece touches one of the other circles, you gain bonus points. The bonus points add from 1 to 3 points, and the points start from 1 on the bottom of the stand to 8 on the top of the stand. When dropping your piece, you have to remember some rules, which makes the game a little harder. You cannot touch pieces of the same color or the same shape. If any of those happen, you don't score any points. You take turns placing your pieces until you are out of pieces. There are some added rules which can be changed from game to game. On the bottom and on the sides of the stand, there are areas that are marked where you cannot touch certain shapes or colors, and if you do, then you will not score any points. I like how you really need to be strategic in which shape that you use because near the end of the game, those pieces have a higher chance to score higher points. And if you played your pieces wrong, then you will not be able to score those high points. I also like how you can change the side restrictions. So each time you play, it changes the game just enough to keep you on your toes. I really like the fact that you can touch these pieces, you get to drop them into the stand, and right after you drop them, you get to see your result. Again, this is Drop It by Kosmos.
Dr. Eureka by Blue Orange Games is my daughter's new favorite game. I know this mostly because she plays with this game a lot longer than most games. Although the game is great for kids, it's excellent for adults as I really enjoy this game. Not too many board games are 100% hands-on, but this game is all about using the test tubes to move the colored balls from one to another without having them drop. Each player starts with 3 test tubes, each with 2 of the different colored balls inside their test tubes. A card is flipped and you have to match the test tubes with the ones on the card. You cannot touch the balls with your hands and you have to just pour the balls out to the other test tubes. If a ball drops out of the test tubes, you are out for that round. Once a player matches the pattern shown exactly on the card, they yell out, "Eureka!" Players check to make sure that the player has correctly maneuvered the balls to each match the pattern on the card. If it is incorrect, that player is out for the round and the other players continue. If the player does have the correct match, then they get the card and they flip over a new one for everyone to match. At this point, everyone's test tubes are going to be different because they might have been at different points in their pouring. So some may start out closer to the match than others, but once a player wins 5 cards, they win the game. The game is great because it takes some skill to pour out the balls out of the test tube to another, especially if you just want to get that first ball off the top and not all of them. I really like this game that my daughter is learning how to match better because she is matching those test tubes to the cards. So great for a little one. I think this game never gets boring and it plays quick. I think this game would also be great for parties, as it is just about as much fun to play as it is to watch others play it. Again, this is Dr. Eureka by Blue Orange Games.
Next is Tournament of Towers by Iron Hippo Games. Tournament of Towers is a dexterity game where you are trying to build a tower. All of these plastic pieces are random shapes, and some look like they need a very good architect to put those pieces onto the tower without having the tower fall over. Each player will be dealt 7 cards, and players will draft these cards by taking one of their choice and passing the remaining to the next player. Each card has a picture of one of the building pieces that will need to be used in the building of your tower. After each player has drafted 7 cards, you will decide in which order to place these pieces by placing your cards in that order. Someone will roll the die and see what event will happen. In the second round, events become more interesting as you might score extra points, remove a piece from another player's tower and add it to yours, or draw an 8th card and add it to the end of your building order. Events will mess you up and your plans and make it harder to build a sturdy tower. After the event, you will collect your 7 pieces and build your tower. If a piece falls while building, you can use your mulligan and keep building. After you place your 7 pieces, you will then score your tower. The tallest tower gets 3 points, and each yellow piece that is included in your tower gets a point. And if you have the architect figurine that is on the top of your tower, the most top point, you get another point. Note that it's not always the tallest tower that wins the game. Remember, those yellow pieces make for a less sturdy tower, but they give you more points when using them. The game is great because you have to draft the pieces that you're going to use, but you are also leaving the pieces for other opponents to use as well. You also can draft all great stone pieces to make a tall and sturdy tower, but you might only score 3 points because it's the tallest. Another player might not have a big tower at all, but they might score more because they've used 4 or 5 yellow pieces. A sturdy tower in the first round might be a good strategy so that you can place yellow pieces on it so that you can have a tall tower with a bunch of yellow pieces on it to score a lot of points. I like how you don't even know what pieces you'll be using until you draft the cards. Also, some pieces are taller than others, so remember that you might want to draft a good tall base piece before taking any of the yellow pieces. The game is a great dexterity game. The balancing and the building is very hard to do, so when you build something, it's very satisfying at the end. Again, this is Tournament of Towers by Iron Hippo Games.
Beast of Balance by Sensible Object was my husband's favorite board game that he reviewed in 2017. It's a strategy dexterity game that uses these plastic animals and other shapes that you can scan and then it digitally appears onto your electronic device. It is a great way for kids and adults to experience a physical experience of touching different pieces, but then putting them into an electronic world. You continue to add pieces to your tower, attempting to keep it from falling over. As you add different animals to the world, you will need to help grow the animal or else the animal will die and become extinct. Different pieces do different things that boost the animal that are either in the sky, on the land, or in the sea. You can also add pieces that will evolve your animals or move them from one terrain to another. You decide which piece to add to your tower next by figuring out which piece might help with your score. Yet you need to keep in mind which piece would better be suited to balance your tower as well. If a piece falls off, you have about 4 to 5 seconds to put all the pieces back on the tower. If you can't or don't do it, then the game's over. The app will keep track of your scores. Each time you play, you will try to beat what your highest score was. The app also keeps track of all the different combinations of animals that you have evolved. My husband says he thinks it feels like Pokemon in the way that you are trying to unlock or make them all. And it kind of feels like Jenga too, except really a lot more fun with really cool animal pieces. Although Beast of Balance came out a while ago, they have recently been coming out with different expansions that add to the game. Like this More Beast expansion that includes an iguana, flamingo, and an anglerfish. These additions also make unlocking evolving animals wider, and like my husband said, you gotta catch them all. They also have come out with an expansion where you battle another opponent by scanning cards that try to attack your opponent's beast while you keep your beast flourishing in its region. So whether you are into trying to make the tallest, most balanced tower, battling out with a friend, or trying to unlock the combinations of species, this game is perfect for everyone. Again, this is Beast of Balance by Sensible Object.
We are giving away a base copy of Beasts of Balance. To be entered, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram at BoardGameBrody,
and comment below on this YouTube video answering which of these games presented would you like to try and why.
Next up is Get Bit by Mayday Games. If you haven't played Get Bit, then you're missing out. This game has some cute components to it. The game turns a card game into a feeding frenzy. The object of this game is to be the last one standing at the end without losing all your parts. Your robot doesn't have to swim faster than the shark. You just have to swim faster than your robot friends. To begin, all the robots are lined up in a line in the center of the table, with the shark being at the end of the line. Players all choose one of their cards numbered 1 through 7 and place it face down on the table. At the same time, all players will reveal their cards. The player who played the lowest number will move their robot from the position that they're at to the front of the line. The next lowest number then goes next till you get to the highest number. If players played the same number, then neither of those players get to move their robot to the front of the line. After changing positions, whoever is in the last in the line, closest to the shark, gets bit and loses a part of their robot. The robot has arms and legs that can snap off. If you get bit and remove a limb, you move your robot to the front of the line and pick up all the cards that you have played so that you have more options in the future. If or when your robot loses both arms and legs, you are removed from the game. Once you have played your card, it will stay in front of you. This lets all other players know what cards that you have played because, remember, you don't want to play the same number as another player. If you ever have one card left in your hand, you automatically get to pick up all of your cards. The game is great because you're trying to deduce what number all the other players are going to play, and try to play one of the cards that doesn't match one of theirs but still moves you away from the shark. The robots are fun to play with, and you can snap off their parts. The game is fast and does exactly what it's supposed to do. This game could easily be played without the toy robots and shark, and they could use a player board with a marker to track how many parts that you have left. But the fact that they really put a visual on the actual toy that loses their parts make you want to play this game more. Again, this is Get Bit by Mayday Games.
Doodle Quest by Blue Orange Games. In Doodle Quest, you will take a quest to dive deep to discover how well you can replicate depicted paths on a separate transparent sheet. Each player starts with a transparent sheet and a marker. Pretty simple. A challenge quest is then presented to everyone, and you will need to obey the rules of that quest to score the most amount of points possible. Many times this might be to connect a path from one place to another, and other times you will need to draw things that don't overlap other discoveries in the sea. Once you are done drawing it on your transparent sheet, you will then place it on top of the challenge quest to see how well you actually did. Quests will give you negative points for crossing over things that you weren't supposed to, Or sometimes you can score bonus points for visiting starfish in the sea. Every time you check to see if you've obeyed the rules for that challenge and add up how many points you've scored that round. There are 36 challenges, with half of them being beginning and the other half being advanced quests. It is very fun to see how well you match up with what you actually see. I like how not every quest you're drawing a line from one place to another, but each is different in their own way. Sometimes you use the fish stencil and need to avoid or encircle certain things in your quest. You will collect pearls, trap dangerous sea animals, steal coins, and even help a whale catch plankton. They do a great job of changing your quest from one challenge to the next so that it always seems new every time you play. The best part of the game is when you place your transparent sheet on top of the challenge and see if you succeeded or failed miserably. Again, this is Doodle Quest by Blue Orange Games. Dimension by Kosmos is a game that is 100% hands-on. In Dimension, you will stack as many balls of different colors on top of each other. That includes 7 balls on the bottom, 3 on top of those for a middle, and 1 on top of that for the very top. It is not nearly as easy to do as you first might think. This is because you have 6 rules to follow each round, and a timer is used to make sure that you obey each rule in that allotted amount of time. The max number of balls used can only be 11, and you have 15 balls total, 3 of each color. These rule cards include different rules, like you need to include exactly X number of a particular color of ball, or you need to make sure that a certain color is used more than another color. Another rule card might say that a certain color can never be on bottom or top of any other color of this type. As you use your balls to build your pyramid, you will need to obey as many rules as you can and use as many balls as you can to achieve the most points that round. The game changes from round to round, as sometimes the rule cards even contradict each other, making it impossible to obey them all. Quick thinking and fast stacking will cause you to win this game. Some rounds seem to be a piece of cake, and you seem to be waiting on everyone else to finish. Other rounds, you keep rearranging your pile because you find out you were not obeying all the rules. Once the timer ends, wherever you are in your stacking, you have to stop and score the points. This game is fun because it uses a lot more thinking than you would originally think when you first open the box. For some reason, the game reminds me of a train your brain type of game. I felt like I was helping my brain, like a Luminosity game app, while playing this game, and had a lot of fun interacting with my family while playing this game. Again, this is Dimension by Kosmos Games. Coconuts by Mayday Games. This game is like no other game out there. You play as a Monkey King trying to launch coconuts from your monkey launcher and land them inside of cups. Each time a coconut lands and stays in a cup, you place it on your player board. Your goal is to get 6 cups on your player board. When you land a coconut in the cup, you eventually make your own pyramid by stacking your cups with 3 on the bottom, 2 in the middle, and 1 on the top. When a player adds a cup to their player board, the other players now have the option of aiming either at the cups in the middle or at that other player's board for their cups. If you land on a coconut in another player's cup, you take it and place it on your board. Once someone stacks their cups to make a pyramid of 6, they win. If you end up landing a coconut inside a red cup, you get to shoot again. You also get 2 cards that give abilities. This might make it harder for other players, such as making them close their eyes before they shoot or making them shoot from further back. Other cards might give you the chance to shoot twice or may cause another player to lose their turn. The game is very addicting, and once you start launching coconuts from your monkey launcher, you will want to keep going and going, trying to make them land inside cups. I like how you can aim at other players' cups because this helps the other players that are behind still have a chance to come back and win. I enjoy how launchers actually launch coconuts. Most of the time you will overshoot the cups and launch the coconuts across the room. Just fair warning. It's also not super easy to aim and launch the coconuts. So it is not every single turn someone is taking a cup. This makes it exciting when you actually do get it in the cup. If you have kids or just like fun games that aren't just cards and cardboard, this is definitely a game for you to check out. Coconuts by Mayday Games.
We hope this has given you some great game ideas to give to your friends and family.
These companies do a good job each and every year coming out with new games, so keep your eyes out. Also, if you didn't see a game that you think belongs on this list, please mention it in the comments below, as we would love to check it out and see what we think about it.
A big thank you goes out to Mayday Games, Kosmos, Blue Orange Games, Iron Hippo Games, and Sensible Object for letting us present these games to you.